All right, well, we'll get started talking about the Raiders and Bears game. They are playing in Chicago here. A couple little storylines to follow for this one. Both teams are missing their original starting quarterbacks. We're seeing a backup for the Bears, an undrafted rookie who led a touchdown drive last week after Justin Fields got injured against Minnesota. How do you think that's going to affect this game, Logan?
I mean, this rookie's good. He's got a very limited offense. He's got a shaky offensive line, and he's only got a lot of weapons. DJ Morris is really his only receiver out there. And Darnell Mooney, they got those two guys basically having a line outside, but that offensive line needs to hold up. They don't really have much of a run game on that team. So if they can hold up, give him a little bit of time just to get something started, he might have a good game. But he's playing a pass rush that has been humming lately.
Yeah, for
Max
sure.
Crosby and that defense has been very good.
Crosby specifically is going to be a fun one to watch to see can the Bears do anything to stop him from being able to get through and terrorize the quarterback.
I mean, they're just gonna have to double team him. I mean, I wouldn't say double team every play, but on them passing downs where you need to set something up, you got to double team Crosby. Where is he at?
For sure, for sure. And on the other end of the ball, we have a backup also starting for the Raiders. Like I had said, we got Hoyer coming in, obviously a veteran of the NFL, kind of been around a couple different teams. Constantly seems like he finds his way into a starting role. Typically, obviously, when he's following up someone getting hurt, is when he'll step in for a team. But he's coming into a team that doesn't look too strong so far this season. We do have Devontae Adams on the outside. He's been pretty unhappy with the way that the team's been structured so far this year. Definitely wants more of a key role in the game. Not really sure how that's going to work because it seems like they've kind of been using him to the best of their ability. Obviously, it's hard to get the ball to a number one receiver all the time, but you got to find a way, I guess. What do you think?
I mean, it's Brian Hoyer. He's been in the league for 13, 14 years now. He's gonna take care of business. He's gonna go in there. He's not gonna do anything flashy. He's not gonna blow anybody away. But he's got weapons. He's got Josh Jacobs in the backfield. He's got Devontae Adams. He's got Jacoby Myers. He's got weapons. He's gonna use them. Devontae's gonna get his looks. The last couple games he hasn't been good, but he had like I said. I mean, the first couple weeks, yeah, I mean they've been looking at him real good. But last week he had 5 targets against New England. Week 4 out against Green Bay. It's a game where he wanted to go off. Only had 4 targets.
Yeah.
I mean, he's arguably the best receiver in the league. You have to get him involved if you want to win games. Now they did win the last two. In the first 3 games they lost, he was involved 8 times, 20 times, 13 times on his target share. So I mean, maybe if the winning formula isn't getting him the ball and getting somebody else the ball, I mean they're gonna play winning football.
For
And I
sure.
get Devontae wants to be the guy, but it's a team first game. This ain't there's no I in team.
For sure. And Jalen Johnson being kind of the star defensive back right now for the Bears, just trying to get an idea as to how he'll play. I imagine they're going to try to match him up with Devontae as best as they can. But the Raiders are obviously, they just have significantly more weapons than what the Bears defense can really keep up with. A couple injuries and stuff on the Bears side of the ball. Again, with the main one being you're missing running backs, you're missing your starting quarterback. And it's just going to be kind of an uphill battle for them, even though they are at home. So that's going to be a tough win for the Bears to try to steal.
Definitely, definitely. If the Bears have any chance of winning this game, they got to go out swinging and they got to do it off the bat.
Yeah, agreed. All right, at the same time as that game, we have the Lions coming into Baltimore. They're going to face a great Ravens team, and it'll be one of the a tough matchup for Baltimore. Obviously, an NFC team they don't see too often, and it'll be an interesting one. What do you think?
I mean, for me, this is a game of the week opportunity. There's a lot of good games on this week, and this has got game of the week material written all over. You got Lamar Jackson on one side, you got Jared Goff on one side, John Harbaugh, Dan Campbell. You got some elite people who are they're on top there. They're on top of the conference right now. They both are. They're both playing amazing football.
For sure.
Detroit's dealing with a little bit of injuries. Baltimore is getting a lot of people back. I think they got Owe coming back, but it's going to be a good game. I'm really excited to see how this one's going to turn out at 1 o'clock. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Obviously, as a Ravens fan, I'm a little biased here, but seeing our offensive line kind of get back and be healthy, all those pieces fit back together. I'm hoping Marlon, as when we're recording, is still questionable as to whether he's going to play or not. The corner that we could really use in a game like this, especially against a high-powered offense like that of the Detroit Lions. But there's no reason as to why really either team should win or lose this game, right? You can make an argument either way. It's just going to be interesting to see what Lamar can do, and how we can really, can we get our offense set? Obviously, 2 weeks ago we had all the drops against Pittsburgh, and that was a rough thing to see. But we might be able to kind of get the ship back riding again. I know you've been really high on the Lions though this season. You think they can do it?
I think the Lions, if they come in there and they still go out swinging, and it's Dan Campbell, he loves swinging for the fences every single week. I think if Dan Campbell puts up enough good enough scheme to get the offense moving against that Baltimore defense, which is going to be tough. Now, if Marlon Humphrey is playing, that's the key matchup right now. Marlon Humphrey on Amon Ross Abram.
Yeah, for
If
sure.
Amon Ross if Amon Ross playing and Marlon Humphrey plays, like if he can lock him up, I think Baltimore's got it. I mean, they're going to need to lock up all their weapons that Detroit has just to stay on top.
For
Baltimore's
sure.
defense can do it, but Jared Goff has been playing like a top five quarterback right now. Not saying he is one, but he's been playing like it. So if anybody's got a chance against Baltimore right now, and they're both coming off wins, they're both high, they're both playing with a lot of momentum. Detroit's the team to do it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm interested to see. It's going to be interesting on the outside end of the ball, and especially the defensive backfield for Baltimore. Geno Stone and Kyle Hamilton have both been playing excellent in their safety spots. The corners kind of been our weak spot right now with Marlon coming back from injury and just not quite to where he typically plays. But you can't really find a better linebacker duo anywhere in the NFL than you have with Roquan and Patrick Queen side by side. So it'll be interesting. Obviously, we have Dave Montgomery out. Jahmyr Gibbs coming in to kind of fill that role. He did not play last week, but's back in the lineup for this week. So it'll be really interesting to see how these teams compete and what kind of a game we end up with.
For sure. I think Baltimore's going to have their hands full, but they're in Baltimore, so that home crowd's going to give them some energy. If they can get the Goff, they can battle. They can win the battle in the trenches. I think they got a good shot. But Detroit's got weapons. They got Jameson Williams along with Amon Ra and Jahmyr Gibbs, and they're going to be good. They're gonna try and sling it. And if Baltimore's corners don't stick with those guys, it's going to be a long day for Baltimore, especially
Yeah,
for that defense that's used to holding teams to sub 24 points.
for sure, for sure. All right. Well, following that game, we're going to see the Browns and Colts. It is on at the same time, 1 o'clock. The Browns are coming in off of a win last week against San Francisco. They're going to be riding that high. Indy, on the other hand, lost against Jacksonville. Kind of expected. We know the Jags are a really great team, and Indy's kind of stuck somewhere in between. Looks like Deshaun Watson should be coming back. As of right now, he's not for sure in the game, but there's no reason to think he won't be playing, right?
Oh yeah, if Deshaun's playing, he's had 3 weeks off. I know it's that rotator cuff that's kind of bothering him, but if he feels right, he's going to come out there. He's going to play. Now, on the other hand, the Colts just lost Anthony Richardson. He's shut down for the year, so it's going to be Gardner Minshew on the start. I'm curious to see how well he performs against that elite Cleveland defense. Miles Garrett loves to get to the quarterback. I mean, I think he's going to get to him at least once. I think that's a lock.
Yeah, yeah. There's no way. He's kind of going to be running for his life, especially from someone like Miles Garrett throughout the whole game. We do have he'll have two running backs to be able to hand the ball off to. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor being back is really big, but even with him returning, Zach Moss has still looked great. He
Oh, yeah,
shined. He shined in those weeks while Jonathan Taylor was still having disputes, trying to figure out how payment's going to work. But
for sure.
now that Zach Moss is back, or I'm sorry, now that Jonathan Taylor's back, Zach Moss is still getting the ball and still pounding it home.
Yeah, they have a two-headed dragon there at running back, but you're playing Cleveland and they have a great defense and they can shut the run down. So if Gardner Minshew can swing that ball out to the running backs and let them make plays, they might be able to get the offense moving. I mean, outside of those two guys, they have Michael Pittman, solid receiver. But outside of those three guys, they need to get some. They're gonna need some help. That offensive line is going to need to hold up. They got a decent line, but that Cleveland defense, top to bottom, is one of the best in the league.
For sure. For sure. The big X factor in this game for me is the Cleveland offense, specifically with Watson back. Because if he is playing like he should be, I'm very interested to see what that offense looks like. It's the perfect kind of defense to face. If I'm Deshaun Watson and I'm coming back and I'm looking at the schedule and I'm looking at the last 2 weeks and I see Baltimore and I see the 49ers, those are games that are hard to win, even if you're healthy and ready to go. But a game like this one against the Colts, if there's a time to come back and to be able to be successful, this should be it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, not to say the Colts defense is terrible, but they're not Baltimore. They're not San Francisco.
Yeah.
Those two defenses, top five in the league, easily, no argument, at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So coming back now, if he can take a hold of this team and get them to the win that they should get this week, might be able to keep them on track to maintain some kind of race in the division with both Baltimore, Pittsburgh's up there still, and Cincinnati's not far behind. But we'll get to that when we get there.
Yeah, I mean, if Deshaun is not playing, if the wild case is there's a setback pregame, they're probably going to throw PJ Walker in there, and I know he didn't have a great game against San Francisco. But Kareem Hunt's coming off a pretty big week. His touches went up, and I think they're only going to keep going up between him and Jerome Ford. I mean, they got a nice little duo going there. I mean, it's not Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, but those two are going to put the ball together, put the ball in, and they're going to run it out.
Yeah. Yep, it's definitely going to be a good one in Indy. Following that game, we'll have the Bills marching down into New England, another divisional game. It'll be Buffalo coming in off of a win last week against the Giants that they really shouldn't have had. At least not. It was kind of handed to them at the end.
It was.
That controversial call that was made on the tight end. I can't even think of his name now. Evan Ingram.
Darren Waller. He went up and got held, and I mean it's kind of hard to make that call in the end of the game there, but usually when the refs see that jersey tug, they call it.
Yeah, and especially in that situation on the 1 yard line, if I recall correctly, that was a free play from a penalty beforehand. Right, so to throw two of them in a row would have been interesting, especially if the Bills would have given the game up that way. But they really shouldn't have been in that situation, right?
No.
There's no reason as to why the Bills didn't score more points.
No, Buffalo definitely played down to their opponent. I mean, Josh Allen is supposed to be one of these. Is supposed to be top 5 quarterback. He's supposed to be putting this team. They're supposed to be Super Bowl contending team. That's it. The Giants, they're not there. They're on 2 different levels right now. Buffalo should have came in there and hung 30 on him at least. But the Giants, the Buffalo played down. The Giants made a couple good plays, forced a couple good turnovers, and they made it a game. They got it down to the wire. I mean, they get that win there. We're having a different conversation.
For sure. And on the other end of the ball, we do have the Patriots are going to be at home, but they have not looked good so far this season.
No, they haven't. They haven't looked like the New England Patriot team that we're accustomed to. And a lot of that's got to come down to Mac Jones. I mean, he's not to say it's all on him, but he has not been playing well. He hasn't had a touchdown in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, he's thrown in the last 3 games, he's 0 touchdowns, 5 picks. He has 5 interceptions in the last 3 games. And he can't be turning the ball over. They need to get back to New England football. Running the ball. They have Ramondre Stevenson. They have Ezekiel Elliott. Feed those guys the rock. Control the ball. And if they can do that, they have a chance of beating Buffalo. I mean, their defense has definitely not been as elite as it has been in the past. But you don't want the best head coaches of all time back there. He can get them to win. It's just a matter of they got to play the Patriot way.
For sure. And especially in these divisional games, you see opponents so often. You get to play against the same coaches. These are the games that you can steal for sure. And they just got to kind of take a look at the blueprint that they were able to the Giants were able to make last week and see if they can kind of improve on that enough to score. But in the last 3 games, the Giants have been outscored by 73 points combined. Uh, I'm sorry, the Patriots have been outscored by 73 points combined. They just haven't looked good, and it's going to be a kind of an uphill battle here, especially with Josh Allen on the other end. They're going to have to hope he has a down game and makes some mistakes, and then New England will try to control the ball and see where they can end up.
Yeah, definitely. You're definitely right there. They just have to. It's like Chicago against the Raiders. They got to come out being aggressive, but they got to come out being aggressive the way they know how to do it if they want any chance. Because I know Josh Allen, he's been very inconsistent the last couple of years, but coming off a bad game, that's when he shines. That's when he comes out. He has a breakout game. He throws 4 or 5 touchdowns. So he's going to be looking, especially against New England, he's going to be looking to hang a big game on them.
Yeah, for sure. And before we get too far away from talking about the Giants, they're going to be at home this week with the Washington Commanders coming in. We have the Giants coming in off of 4 losses, 4 straight losses. The Commanders did win last week. It was not a pretty game, though, against the Falcons. Did you see the end of that game?
I did not see the end of the Falcons Commanders game. I heard how it was bad. I heard they had a lot of chances at the end to win said game, but I did not catch the end of it.
Yeah, I think on the last 3 drives there were 2 interceptions and I believe a turnover on downs. So they had 3 chances at the end, just they needed a touchdown and a 2 point conversion. Couldn't even get the touchdown, so never even had the shot at the 2 point conversion. It was tough to watch a little bit from the Falcons, but the Commanders held, and that's the important thing for this game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you basically they turn the ball over 3 times, they win the turnover battle. If the team turns the ball over 3 times, especially the quarterback's throwing 3 interceptions, that's a winning football game. Now, the only question though is it was that close towards the end. Can Washington's offense be consistent? Can they do something? Can they keep the ball moving? I know they're playing the Giants, but they gotta find their identity on the offense. Sam Howell, I mean, I know he's only had a couple games under his belt, but he's got some weapons out there. He's got 2 decent running backs, got a couple good receivers. He's just got to find his rhythm and just stick to it if he wants to win against the Giants. Because the Giants will sneak up on you. I mean, I've been high enough on them at least for the beginning of the year. Lately, not so much, but it's a divisional game. They know each other. They play each other so much. Now the only difference is they haven't seen Sam Howell. So if Sam Howell could break out today, break out today, and he could throw 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the Giants don't even know what happened.
Yeah, for sure. And I know Washington, for the most part, is just starting to get back to being healthy. So that's helping them be, a better team. But the Giants are dealing with injuries at one injury at the quarterback position with Daniel Jones. He's still questionable at the time that we're recording this. They're also missing a bunch of offensive linemen. That's been a struggle for them. They keep changing the offensive line every game. And then just a constant restructuring and shuffling around. It just makes it hard for the Giants to be able to play ball. They do have Saquon back from injury. He came back last week and kind of made the Giants look a lot better offensively, but they still haven't been able to score an offensive touchdown in over 3 games.
I mean, Saquon coming back for the Giants, that's huge. He is the lifeline of that offense. Run, pass, it doesn't matter what you do. You give Saquon the ball, and he's going to produce. But yeah, like you said, they're having a lot of injuries, and it doesn't matter who plays at quarterback tomorrow. If it's Tyrod, if it's Jones, it don't matter. That Washington defense with the Giants' lack of offensive linemen and all the injuries, all the rotational pieces, they're gonna have a long day. It's very black and white. They're gonna have a long day, and if the Giants O line can come out and eat their Wheaties and hold up a couple times, they might be able to start something. Maybe get their first offensive touchdown. I hope,
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's the Giants have been very inconsistent. Dayball has been very constant. He said he doesn't want to change anything. He's pretty set of where he's at, but I mean they're 1-5 and they haven't scored in the first half, so something's got to change.
for sure, for sure. And hopefully they can do it this week, but we'll see. All right, and also we're going to have the Falcons coming into Tampa Bay to play the Buccaneers. The Bucks last lost at home in that game against Washington, where they had 3 chances to tie at the end, but were unable to convert on all of them. What do you think?
I think it's the first matchup between Baker Mayfield and Desmond Ritter in the division. Baker Mayfield didn't play the best game against the Lions. Played a really good Lions defense, but that game was it came down to a couple plays. If there was a couple tips, led to an interception, led to a turnover, and if that didn't happen, I mean, I think the third play in the Lions Bucks game last week was almost a touchdown to Mike Evans, 7-0 right off the bat, and
Yeah.
then it turned into a pick six. So if Baker doesn't make any mistakes, I mean, he even willingly opened and said how much he sucked, and I think he's gonna try and turn it around. He's got a good team around. He's got good guys around him.
Yeah, and again, as a Ravens fan, I'm so glad to see Baker outside of the division because now I can kind of root for him. You know, since he got drafted there, he's been a guy that I didn't want to see win because that means my team isn't. But having him outside of the division now and seeing him succeed and do well, especially with the situation that the Browns find themselves in as a result, I love it. You know, he's a great leader, and he's really making an impact very early on for this Tampa Bay team.
Yeah, that Tampa Bay team, and I mean, if you look at their team top to bottom, outside of Tom Brady to Baker, they haven't changed a whole lot.
Yeah,
They pretty much have the same team, same receivers, same defense. So he's got a good group around him. I mean, if he puts a couple games together, I mean, I think they're going to win the division. I think that Tampa Bay is good enough. I don't know postseason. It depends how well Baker plays, but I think I like their chances against Atlanta this week. Desmond Ritter, I, is he a starting caliber quarterback? I don't know. I mean, he threw 3 picks last week. Could have won the game multiple times. You
yeah.
don't get that many opportunities, especially in the NFL.
Because Ritter he has the ability. He just doesn't have consistency right now, and especially in big moments, he seems to always make the wrong decisions in big moments or just make mistakes in big moments. So I don't know if he's the answer there or not. I don't know if you play him the entire rest of the season, how it looks for the Falcons, especially, they have Heineke, I believe, behind him. I would like to see him, and see what he can do with the Falcons. But as of now, their coach is kind of sticking behind him, and basically saying we're gonna give him more chances, and you learn from your mistakes and see what they can do, which is an interesting way to do it.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's Arthur Smith's the head coach there.
Yeah,
First time head coach. I mean, he's behind his guy. I mean, and not to say anything that he doesn't have help. He's got a lot of help. I mean,
for sure.
they drafted a running back at 8, and Bijan's been amazing. Like he couldn't ask for any more.
Yeah,
They got depth at running back too. Tyler Algier, Cordell Patterson. I mean, just in case, you never know if, God forbid, any injuries happen to Bijan. But they have depth. I mean, Cordell Patterson can play wide receiver and running back. They have Kyle Pitts. They have Johnny Smith, two really good tight ends. They have Drake London, a good receiver. He's on the rise. He's definitely on the rise. I want to see if he can get attuned with his weapons that he has. I think Ritter can turn into a starting caliber quarterback. I don't think there's anything more for him past that. If he can get consistent, get the turnovers down, just not make bad decisions. But he's playing a good defense. He played a good defense last week, and we see what happened. He's playing another one.
yeah.
They're gonna get to him.
Yeah, so that'll be an interesting one to watch. In addition to that game, we do have Pittsburgh coming into Los Angeles to face the Rams. Pittsburgh is coming in off of a bye. Their last game was a home game against Baltimore, that infamous game where Baltimore dropped everything that was thrown the entire game. The Rams, on the other hand, are coming in with a win at home against the Cardinals. They will stay at home with Pittsburgh coming into town. What do you think this game's going to look like?
I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. I think Pittsburgh's defense is never gonna do exactly what they did last week against Baltimore. They're gonna control the line of scrimmage. They're gonna get to the quarterback. They're gonna make Matthew Stafford stay very difficult. Now the Rams, they got Cooper Cup back. They got Puka Nakua, but they're without their starting running back Kyron Williams. So they're going to, I can't remember who their backup is off the top of my head, but they're going to somebody who hasn't played a role. He hasn't played as a starting running back role. I think he's a rookie, maybe a second year guy. So Pittsburgh's going to win the game on the ground. And that's very rare because they haven't had like a 400-yard game or 300-yard game in like 5 years. It feels like
Yeah.
since Ben Roethlisberger has played there. But I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be pretty close. It's going to come down to how well Pittsburgh's defense plays against this loaded offense on at least passing offense. And then Kenny Pickett, can he be consistent? Can he make drives? Can he get the ball to George Pickens? Can he get the ball to Pat Fryermuth? Can they run the ball?
For sure.
It's going to come down to how good Pittsburgh plays. If Pittsburgh plays well, they win. If they don't play well, I think the Rams they'll come over to win. They're playing in Los Angeles anyway, so Pittsburgh's got to travel. They're going to have that delay.
Yeah, it'll definitely be an interesting one. It does look like it'll be Zach Evans in at running back for the Rams, who has a total of 6 snaps in his NFL career after being drafted sixth this year by the Rams. So that'll be a really interesting thing to watch at that position. But the rest of the Rams offense, especially their passing offense, looks solid. We know Puka Nacua looks really good this season. Cooper Kupp coming back from injury and playing just like he was never gone. But like you said, amazing defense on the Pittsburgh Steelers side of the ball. That'll be a fun matchup, just seeing how those players can play and what they do and how they kind of counter each other. One thing that's interesting: the Steelers are 2-0 against Aaron Donald, so they seem to always do really well against that defense, even with Aaron Donald on the other side. So I'm interested as to if they can keep the ball moving. Kenny Pickett, like you said, has struggled, but the last we saw him, he was throwing game-winning touchdowns in Pittsburgh against Baltimore. So it'll be an interesting one, that's for sure.
For sure. I think Pittsburgh's gonna. I think it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be definitely a solid game. It's not gonna be game of the week material, but if you like defense, if you like defense, you like grinded out football. That's a game to watch.
All right, and another 4 o'clock game we have will be the Cardinals going into Seattle to play the Seahawks. The Cardinals are coming off of a loss last week. They played the Rams in Los Angeles and were unable to beat them. The Seahawks, on the other hand, are coming off of a loss as well against Cincinnati in a game that could have been winnable for the Seahawks.
Definitely, definitely. And I've been a Bengals fan all my life, and when I tell you I was very nervous that game, like at the first half, Cincinnati looked we were humming. Joe Burrow went like 9 or 9 or 10 for 11, something like that, right there off the bat in the first quarter. We were humming on offense, and then the second half came around, and we just did not look like the same team. And Seattle had plenty of opportunities. But it's a good thing our defense came through, got a couple stops. But Seattle made their own mistakes too. They were 1-5 in the red zone, so they had the opportunities. Four missed opportunities to get points in a 4-point game.
Yeah,
Definitely winnable game there for Seattle, and they missed out on it.
for sure. And the Cardinals this year have just not looked good in any phase of the game. Offensively, they've struggled. Defensively, they've struggled. And they're facing injuries throughout the roster. Obviously, their starting quarterback is still out, will be coming back shortly, but they've been playing Josh Dobbs all season. He had shined for a little bit of time in week 2 against the Giants. They built up a 20-point lead in the first half, but as bad football teams do, they gave that lead up. What's confusing for the Cardinals is they were able to beat the Cowboys, and they just can't contend with a lot of these other teams. So I don't think that speaks to Dallas being a bad team by any means. It just leads to confusion as to what exactly the Cardinals are.
I mean, it's the NFL, so anybody can beat anybody on any given week. It doesn't matter who you are. I mean, the best team can be losing to the worst team. Somebody rolls out of the bed on the right side. It don't matter. But they had James Conner when they played Dallas, so they don't have him now. He's out. I think he went to the IR. So I mean, and they have. I'm not even sure they're starting running back is right now. They've had enough injuries that it's just top to bottom. Their team has been riddled and decimated.
For sure. So that'll definitely be an interesting game. And then moving into the late kickoffs for the 4 o'clock time, we'll see the Packers come into Denver, and Packers are coming off of a loss last week against the Raiders. The Broncos also coming off of a loss in Kansas City. It'll be an interesting game.
Oh yeah, definitely. But did anybody hear Denver Broncos fire sale? Come on now. I mean, I heard Cortland Sutton on the trade block, Pat Surtain on the trade block, Jerry Judy on the trade block, Javante Williams. I heard everybody. Everybody, maybe except for Russell Wilson, because nobody wants to pay that man and
Right.
take on that contract. But it's going to be an interesting game. I mean, Jordan Love had a pretty bad outing last week, the last time he played. But he's getting Aaron Jones back. If Aaron Jones they give him the touches that he needs to produce on the offense, I think Jordan Love will be fine. But I think Denver might be able to sneak them on. If they can get a couple wins here, maybe they don't sell the team. If they lose here, they might sell the whole team Sunday night. I don't know.
Yeah, and as many of these players that Denver has on the trade block, the Packers have them on the injury list. They're missing Quay Walker, Jair Alexander, and Aaron Jones have all been dealing with injuries this week. Uh, some of them might play. As of right now, they're listed as being questionable. So we'll kind of see where those guys are at tomorrow, as of when we're recording when these games happen. But Jordan Love, if I'm him, I'm loving this game on my schedule. If there's a team that I want to be able to reset and play well against, it's the one that gave up 70 points just a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. The only thing he's got to look out for, where's Pastor Tan at?
For sure.
If you see Pastor Tan out there, just throw the other way.
Yeah.
Run the ball or throw it the other way.
And
And
there's
if you lock in on him, I think Jordan Love he'll have a pretty good game. I think he'll come out, he'll bounce back, and it's gonna be an interesting one for sure. I don't love the Denver team, but if they can riddle out a couple drives, they might be able to put it together.
yeah. Uh, Jordan Love has nowhere near the amount of weapons that a Miami Dolphins in this example do, but
Definitely.
he should still be able to play well against a defense, like the Denver Broncos have. But that'll be a really interesting one. Russell Wilson as well. Is he the leader that he needs to be for this Denver team?
Definitely not. He. I mean, I've seen him take ownership for his four false comings, but he's not the same guy he was in Seattle. I if it, is that more of a test of how good Seattle's coached? I mean, we see how good Geno Smith is versus he basically fell off a cliff before Seattle. So is it a coach of how good Pete Carroll is coaching his quarterbacks? Maybe, but Russell Wilson is not the same quarterback we're used to seeing. It's been honestly very tough to watch him play.
For
When
sure.
when he went over to Denver, I was like, man, that AFC West, the West is loaded. Because when you look at it, Denver they had defense, they had weapons. I mean, they still have some of those pieces, but they've already let a couple people walk away. Randy Gregory's left. And they traded somebody else already. But it's hard to watch that Denver team. I think the Packers they come out they go to Mile High and they get the win and they take care of business.
Yeah. All right, and possibly the game of the week, at least for the early games, the one in the four games, Chargers are going into Kansas City and facing the Chiefs. This is going to be an interesting one. What do you think is going to happen in this game?
It's Justin Herbert, it's Patrick Mahomes, two very very really great quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes is probably the best in the league. Justin Herbert, he's definitely up there right there with him. It's going to be a high scoring game. I have not seen a Kansas City Chargers game with these two quarterbacks where it's been low scoring. It hasn't happened. I don't
Yeah,
think and I think that's going to be consistent and they're going to put up points and it's going to be a shootout. Kansas City or Patrick Mahomes, he's 7-2 against the Chargers in his career, but his two losses, he lost at home against the Chargers, so that might play a factor. Maybe the Chargers have something in his house. Maybe it's Herbert head. I don't know, but it's definitely going to be a really good game. Definitely a game of the week material right here. It's going to be very close AFC West matchup.
yeah, for sure. And with this being a divisional game, like you said, these coaches know each other so well. They know how to scheme against each other. But the Chargers I don't know if it's play calling or if it's performance, but they just haven't been able to kind of get over that hump that they need to get over. Last week they had chances to win. They just didn't look like they wanted it, and these are professional athletes. I'm not trying to say that they don't want to win. They definitely do. But sometimes it just, you gotta give a little bit more to get there. I know the Chargers are dealing with a few injuries, specifically at receiver. They've have some guys missing, but they have guys and depth on their roster. They should have guys ready to step up. And I think they can definitely compete in a game like this against Kansas City. I don't expect to see them win. I wouldn't be shocked if they did. But it's definitely, they need to do something, especially after that loss against Dallas.
Yeah, they definitely got to bounce back. Justin Herbert let one go there at the end of the game. They could have had to win the bag. They did. They could have beat Dallas and solidified a little more of their name. But I don't know. I don't know if it's the coaching staff. I don't know if it's Herbert. But they need to make a change. I mean, They have some injuries, but I think Derwin James is going to make his way back against Kansas City. That's going to be huge. That's going to be huge for their defense. Derwin James is one of the best safeties in the league, if not the best safety in the league, depending on who you talk to. But their defense needs to bring it together. I know Sebastian Joseph Day got hurt, banged up last week against Dallas. I think he came back at the end of the game, but you got him there. You got Joey Bosa. You got Kenneth Murray, Khalil Mack. They got and Asante Samuel. They got weapons on the defense. They got people who are going to shut everything down and lock up. So if they can play to their strengths against Kansas City, maybe take another game on the road from them. It's definitely interesting to see if they can do it. But Patrick Mahomes being Patrick Mahomes, he's the best quarterback in the league. He's won at the biggest level, at the lowest level. He's gonna come out and take care of business like always.
Yeah. Yeah, so that one should definitely be a good game, and it'll be the perfect game to lead into what's going to end up being Sunday Night Football. We're going to have the Miami Dolphins that are 5-1 Miami Dolphins coming into Philadelphia and taking on the 5-1 Eagles, fresh off of a loss in New York against the Jets, led by, well, in reality, a backup quarterback in Zach Wilson. Is this revenge game for the Eagles?
That's got to be a revenge game. Jalen Hurts he made a very 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 bad mistake. He had a little bit of time at the end against the Jets to set up a play, and he kind of forced one there at the end, and it's got to be a revenge game. He's got to come out swinging, and the Eagles have the team to do it. They have very good defense. They got weapons, and they just signed Julio Jones, so he's going to be make his debut this week. What kind of role is he going to play? I don't think it's going to be a big one, but his name out there alone is enough. You got a scheme for him. If they can bring him out, he just runs one go route. He could hang a touchdown on you right away, and that's the only play he makes. But it could be the game changer. But at the same time, the Eagles, they're going to have their hands full. Miami has the best offense in the league, top and bottom, rushing, passing. They have the best offense in the league right now. They got a two-headed dragon with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Raheem Mostert's been one of the best running backs in the league. I mean, it's just hard. I don't know how you stop this Miami offense. It's insane.
For sure, for sure. But this is going to be one of their toughest tests so far this season against a great all-around Philly team. There's a reason they made it to the Super Bowl last year, and they didn't really lose anybody between seasons. So this team looks very, very strong. But their main problem has been, and in their loss, turnovers. They had 4 turnovers last week. I believe it was 3 interceptions and a fumble. They need to get that cleaned up, especially against a team like Miami. They will be at home and they'll have that advantage, but they need to keep this team moving and not make mistakes. If they can keep marching the ball down the field, control the ball, they'll be able to do really well in this game and should be able to get a win. But if you keep giving the ball back to Miami, they're the kind of team that's going to make you pay for it. Speed in every position on offense, and they're just going to outrun you and outpace you all game.
For sure. Speed kills. Speed kills. Doesn't matter what position you play. If you're fast, you're going to have a good day. Now, I mean, the only thing that's going to hold up if Philly can hang the points with them. Right now, I mean, Miami still doesn't have Jalen Ramsey. He's not back from the injured reserve yet. Xavier Howard also questionable. So if you don't get Xavier Howard in that game to cover AJ Brown or Devontae Smith, they might be able to keep pace. And another injury on Miami that's going to hurt them is Connor Williams. They expect him to play, but how much is he going to play all the snaps? Does he re-aggravate his groin injury? It's kind of up in the air. And they don't have Devon A-Chain. They placed him on the IR last week, so it's going to be about all on Mostert again. I think Philly's defense locks up that run a lot better than Miami. A lot better than they're going to. I can't speak. I think Miami's run game is going to be a little worse than it was last week, but it's still a very high potent offense. Again, going against a very good defense. I think it's the game of the week. It's the game I'm looking forward most to. That's all I got about that one.
Yeah, like you said, McDaniel's just really good at scheming for his players. So for sure, they'll find ways to get the ball in the hands of the best players. They've been doing that all season. Last week, they fell behind early on, had a really bad first quarter against the Panthers where they were losing by 2 touchdowns. They came back and they were able to win that game by 21 points. and scored 42. They find ways to get the ball into the end zone, which is that's what the best teams do. They find ways to get in, and Miami's one of the best teams for that reason. Then following that game, we'll obviously roll into Monday Night Football. This week we have the 49ers coming into Minnesota. They'll be taking on the Vikings. The Niners are coming fresh off of a loss in Cleveland. They did receive several injuries in that game. They had their running back go out in Christian McCaffrey. They lost a tool that they have on offense in Deebo Samuel for a little bit of time. Some of them guys are coming back, and should be an interesting one.
Definitely. I think San Francisco's they're going to come in. They're going to take care of business in Minnesota. They're going to clean some things up. They lost that game by an inch, and I think Brock Purdy's going to bounce back. Like you said, Christian McCaffrey, he's going to play. He's probably going to play, barring a setback. Debo's out the next couple weeks, but they're playing a Vikings team that's really struggled without their number one weapon. And outside of him, they haven't really done anything outside of. I mean, they haven't done anything. I mean, Jordan Addison's been a pretty solid rookie. He's been one of the better rookie receivers this year. But, I mean, they haven't had a rushing touchdown all year. Alexander Madison has been okay, but they need to get the ground game moving if they have any chance of controlling this game against San Francisco. And it starts with Madison. He's getting over 70% of the snap share at running back when everybody came in and thought it was going to be running back by committee. And Madison's just not producing. So is it going to be more by committee this game? It might be. But I think they're going to come. I think Brock Purdy's going to have a comeback game. This is his first loss in his career, in his young career. I think he's going to come back and he's going to go swinging.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, Brock's he does not lose games. The only other game that he was a part of that they lost was the NFC Championship game last season when he got injured early on. So it's not like we're talking about a guy that isn't a winner, right? And I think a lot of it is the defense carrying him. This Niners team is just stacked in every position. They're paying this guy so little money, and they're bringing in every piece they can get from everywhere to be able to make this team just stacked in every role, and they've done it. They're just talented in every way they could be.
Oh my God, yes, their defense, best defense in the league, if you ask me. I mean, between Eric Armstead, Javon Hargrave, Nick Bosa, they probably one of the best linebacking duos between Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner. Man, those guys, they're everywhere. Every time you look at a play in San Francisco's defense, they're somewhere. And their defense, their secondary, amazing. Charvarius Ward, Deonador Lenore, Tayshaun Gibson, and Talon Funga. Man, I mean, there's not a weakness. There's not a weakness there on defense.
For
So I
sure.
think Kirk Cousins is gonna have a long night, and it's prime time. So Kirk Cousins don't win on prime time.
Yeah, he always seems to find a way to lose them, doesn't he?
He does, and I'm not saying there's another chance they come away and sneak away. They are at home. There's always a chance to win games, no matter who you play. But he's gonna have a long night. He's gonna have a lot of Niners in his face, and it's gonna come down to who schemes the better game.
Yeah, it should be an interesting one. All right, well, let's see what we think in some of these games. We'll run back through these and just kind of give our opinions on who's going to take the wins and who's going to be going home with a loss. We'll start with the first game, the Raiders coming into Chicago. What do you think?
Man, I think the Raiders all day. I think I don't know what Tyson Badgett's gonna look like, and he's gonna be in for a long night or a long morning. It's gonna be a long day for him, and the Raiders are gonna be all over it. Give me the Raiders all day.
Yeah, I'm with you. The Bears just haven't looked like a great team. They haven't even looked like an average team so far this season. I don't think that changes with bringing an undrafted rookie in to play quarterback. It's going to be a win all day for the Raiders on this one. Um,
Definitely.
Following that game, we have the Lions and Ravens coming into Baltimore. I got Baltimore in this one. I know, like I said earlier, I am completely biased. But the last time we went into Detroit, we won one of these games on a 66-yard field goal. We find ways to win games against Detroit, and that's not changing tomorrow.
I gotta go away from you, man. I think Detroit's coming into Baltimore, and they're gonna sneak one out. You said it was a 66-yarder. The way to beat them. This ain't the same Detroit team. This team came out week one beat the Chiefs. Now, a lot of people thought might have been a trap game, but this Detroit team, this team's legit. They got weapons top to bottom. The defense is very young. They're very good. They're coached very well. But I mean, it's a toss up. I mean, I'm not gonna say Baltimore doesn't have a chance. Baltimore definitely has a chance. They have all the talent in the world. But I think Detroit's gonna come into Baltimore. They're gonna knock one on their head there. They're gonna sneak out with a win.
Yeah, we'll see about that. The next game we got is the Browns and Colts. We are being playing this one in Indianapolis. Cleveland should come in, and I don't see any reason, especially if Watson's playing, why they shouldn't be able to win this one. By at least a touchdown.
For sure. I mean, if Deshaun Watson plays, it's Cleveland. Cleveland's gonna win. I think they're gonna dominate all sides of the ball. If Deshaun's out, nah, Deshaun's gonna play. So I think Cleveland's gonna dominate top to bottom.
Honestly, for me,
I don't think Indy's gonna put much of a contest up in this game. Unfortunately, I don't with Minshew at quarterback. Either you get 3 touchdowns or you get 3 picks. I'm leaning towards the picks against a really good defense.
yeah, for sure. Even if Watson's not playing, I'll take a PJ Walker led Cleveland Browns to beat the Colts, especially after last week when they beat the Niners. So I think in all ways here, the Browns this is their game to lose.
For sure.
Now the next game we have the Bills playing in New England. One of these divisional games that could go either way, but I'm definitely leaning Bills on this one.
I'm leaning Bills too. I think, like I said earlier, I think it's a Josh Allen revenge game. When he plays bad, he bounces back. He's gonna have a big game.
Yeah, there's no reason as to why he shouldn't. That bad game that he had against the Giants is we know that's not what Josh Allen's capable of, and it's his chance now to show us what he is capable of. On the other end of the ball, we have a New England team that can't score, can't get into the end zone, can't do anything right, it doesn't seem. So there's no reason as to why Josh Allen shouldn't be able to lead his team to a convincing win, even though they are in New England. The following game, then, we have the Commanders coming into New York to face the Giants. Another divisional game. This one could be interesting. What do you think?
Oh man, it's a divisional game. So and they're playing in New York. I mean, it's so. I'm gonna go Giants. If Daniel Jones is playing, which I think that's always considered a long shot to play. But even if Tyrod's out there, I think Dayball's going to put up a scheme good enough with Saquon Barkley to sneak out the win. I don't think it's going to be any blowout win. It's not going to blow anybody away, but I think it's going to be close. It's going to come down to probably one of these kickers, and they're going to have to win it for them. I don't think it's going to come down to a controversial call like it was last week. But give me the Giants. I know it's probably a long shot, but I'll take the long shot this time.
Yeah, and I can't jump on that same wagon. The Giants just haven't been good this season. Their only win came against the Cardinals. The Cardinals are bad, and they barely beat them. I just can't jump on until I see something that shows that they can play and they can win games. Last week they were in it, but it was more that the Bills were out of it. Right, the Giants still didn't do anything to show me. They do. It looks like Daniel Jones probably isn't playing, which honestly, if based off of last week, that helps their odds in a sense, but still not enough. Even with Saquon, even all these other things, I don't see how the Giants come away with a win. I think the pass rush in Washington is going to be dominant, and it's going to keep them from being able to move the ball in any way.
It'll definitely be a good win in NFC East matchup for sure. I think it's going to be low scoring, but it'll definitely be a good one. The next game we got is Atlanta Falcons and Tampa Bay Buccaneers, first divisional matchup there. Give me the home team. I like Baker Mayfield. I think he's going to put together. He's going to bounce back. He's going to put a good game together. I think Desmond Ritter. He's going to struggle. He's going to struggle like he did last week against a really good defense. He's playing another good defense.
Yeah,
Give me Tampa all day.
I definitely agree with you on this one. I love the idea of the Falcons being able to win this game. I definitely think that there's a chance that they could, but they're going to have to steal it. So give me Tampa Bay in this one. I'm not there on Ritter yet. He's got to do something. Like I said with the Giants, I need to see something before I can be sold on a person. Give me a little bit of better play, a little bit more consistency, and I'll be on the Falcons to be able to beat them in the second matchup. But right now, give me Tampa Bay in this one. The following game we have in Los Angeles with Pittsburgh coming in to play the Rams. This is a tough one for me. I truly don't know which side to go on, but it's so hard to bet on Kenny Pickett with the way that he's played so far.
It's definitely hard to bet on Kenny Pickett, but I think I'm going to bet on Mike Tomlin. I think the Steelers go on the road. They're going to get this win. It's going to be an ugly win, but outside of Aaron Donald, that the Rams defense hasn't been the greatest. So even if Aaron Donald's there, I mean they beat him twice. Why not beat him 3 times? If Kenny Pickens can get the ball to Pickens, George Pickens, elite receiver they got out there, I think as long as they get him the ball, they work it in there. I think they're going to come out with a win. It's going to be an ugly one, but give me Pittsburgh, give me Mike Tomlin, give me that defense.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, the Steelers have 2 wins against Aaron Donald, and they haven't lost. At least not yet. That probably changes tomorrow. I'll jump on the Rams on this one, at least in part just to take the other side. But I do think that they're a bit of a stronger team overall. Their defense isn't quite what the Steelers are, but it's not crazy far away from it. And just being able to pass the ball is so effective in the NFL, and that's something that the Steelers haven't been able to prove yet, but the Rams have.
It'll definitely be a good one to look out for. We'll see how that one goes. Next game we got Arizona Cardinals traveling to Seattle, playing the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are gonna they're gonna have a little better game. They're gonna come out there. They're gonna try and hang 30 on them. Seattle doesn't have as a tough defense to play against like they have played against Cincinnati. Cam Taylor was over DK Metcalf. I don't even know who the number one corner for Arizona is right now. So I think DK is going to show out.
Yeah, there's no reason as to why Seattle shouldn't win this game. The Cardinals have just been bad, and I don't think that changes coming into a stadium like the stadium in Seattle. All that sound coming directly down onto the field. I don't know how many fans are showing up to see them play against the Cardinals, but however many it is, it'll be enough to get the win for the Seahawks.
For sure.
Following that, we got the Packers coming into Denver. It should be an interesting one. It could go, kind of another one of those toss-up games that could go either way.
Yeah, definitely. It could go either way, and I'm gonna trust it. I'm gonna right now the better head coach right now. I'm gonna trust Matt LaFleur. Sean Payton's talked a lot and hasn't backed it up at all. They're 1-5, and really should be 0-6. But give me Jordan Love, give me Matt LaFleur. I think this is a very good matchup, and for the Packers, bringing a couple guys back off injury, I think they'll bounce back. I think it'll be closer than people will think, but I think the Packers are going to get the win.
Yeah, and it's tough for me because Russell Wilson was such a great quarterback for so long that it's hard to just kind of jump off and say that he's no longer what he was. But I just haven't seen it this season for sure, and last season it wasn't much better. So do I jump on and say Jordan Love is the top tier quarterback that Russell Wilson was at a time? No, he's definitely not to that point yet. But the Packers still just have a little bit more depth throughout, and should be able to kind of squeak out of this one. It could be close, but also if it's going to be a blowout, it's not going to be in favor of the Broncos. Give me the Packers in this one.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a good contest to watch out for.
And then we have what could be a game of at least game of the day, and the Chargers coming to Kansas City. Don't expect this one to be low scoring. If you want to see some touchdowns, get this game on the TV.
Definitely. I think this is game of the week material. Mahomes, Herbert, they're going to put a show on. But after their last showing on Monday Night Football, short week. I mean, I know they beat him twice in the past, but that was years ago. This is the present. Give me Kansas City. Give me Mahomes. Give me Andy Reid. Give me Taylor Swift. They're gonna get that dub.
Yeah, because on the other end, like you said, the Chargers have a little bit of a shorter week, a little bit less rest. Kansas City, a little bit of a long week. They played on Thursday night. So they're coming in with a little bit more time to just rest, relax, watch some film, see what's going on, check in on Taylor, and they should be able to kind of hold on and win this game. I look for them to win this one.
Definitely. And then we're leading in to another game of the weekend right here. Miami Dolphins at Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday Night Football. I mean, this is gonna be a great matchup. Um, I'm gonna go against the grain a little bit. I know I love me some offense, but give me the team that's got the better defense this time around. Give me Philly at home. They're gonna sneak out of it. I think they're gonna sneak out with the win. It's gonna be close though, and if Miami wins it, I wouldn't be shocked at all. But give me the better defense. I think they're gonna get to Tua. I think they're gonna rattle them. They're gonna make them make mistakes. Give me the Eagles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely think that the Eagles. They have every reason as to why they should win this game. They're coming in off of a loss against the Jets. They have a quarterback that can win any game that he plays. They have a defense that can hold. They have an offensive line that makes sure that their quarterback stays clean. They have receivers. They have everything that they need to win. So it's going to be crazy when the Miami Dolphins come in and upset them, because that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to see Tua have the game of his life, and he's going to come off, and they're going to score enough points to outpace this Philadelphia Eagles offense that's struggled as of late, and they're going to be able to walk away with a win.
I'll tell you what, Miami comes in there, Tua shows out, chalk the MVP vote up right there. He might come out with it this year.
Well, you can put his name on the trophy now because that's going to happen tomorrow.
Ah, I can't put it on the trophy, but I'll put him up. Oh, we can put a ballot in. We still got to talk to Joe Burrow.
And then that'll lead us into the game on Monday night. We'll have a little bit of a break, and then we'll be seeing the Niners come into Minnesota and face the Vikings. And I don't know how to get on the Vikings bandwagon, and I don't know how to get off the Niners one.
Nah, I can't either. Even if Justin Jefferson was playing, Kirk Cousins, prime time football. It's a chemical reaction. It doesn't work. It's like dynamite. It just blows up in his face. Even if he plays good, and then it'll end up bad. I think San Francisco is going to walk away with this one. They're going to go in, take care of business. It's going to be at least a double-digit game, and they're going to get that win, get back on track.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Brock Purdy. This will be his first time coming in after a loss, and how's this going to impact him? How's he going to be in this game? Is he going to look skittish at all? Is he going to be the same quarterback that we've seen? Because man, does he have talent? They should be able to win this game. There's no reason as to why the Niners, they're the favorite in every way in this game. Offensively, they're better. Defensively, they're better. Special teams, they're better. Give me the Niners in this one. It'll be a good game though.
Definitely, there's going to be a lot of good games on this week. There's a lot of really good games on. A lot of clear games on this week. I don't know if there's going to be a whole lot of upsets. I mean, you never know. Could come around once the fourth quarter comes around. Somebody can turn it around. But I see a lot of very good games this week. It's going to be a very entertaining Sunday of football.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and we're not too far away. We'll enjoy some games, and then get back together and see what happens.
For sure.